5. I'm gonna move that we change our agenda. And take items number 3, 4, and 5. And reposition those as items number 1, 2, and 3. Take items number 1 and 2, and position those as items number 4 and 5. Is that correct, Andy? Look for a second from anybody.
All set.
Read it for a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, so we are looking at agenda item number 3. They're finding it. That's the other problem. And so. We'll be looking at 94 Greenbush. Area variances, Michael Ragsdale seeking variances for pre-existing non-conformities and variance for expanding on lot coverage by installing a shed. Good evening.
Yes, I'm Michael Ragsdale. I am the owner of, new owner of 94 Greenbush. I purchased it in February. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that corner. I'm right across from Randall Middle School. And I'm doing a lot of improvements on the property, try to get into shape. There was a garage on the property that was 12 feet by about 21 feet. And it was leaning to the left. The way it was placed, it was 0.1 on one property line and 0.9 on the other property line. I'm going to replace it with a shed, a pre-built shed that I've already purchased. They're over on River Street, the lot over there. And I just want to place it back really in nearly the same spot, but 2 feet off the lines of the property. Enclosed in the documents, I have my neighbors on either side that signed that it would be no problem for that to for the shed to be put on that property. In the interim, I've removed a tree that was between the house and the garage. So now the garage is freestanding, or the garage areas cleared, the trees removed, and then there's a house. I know there's some concern about the distance between the house and the
That's area.
That's 14, it's 14 feet between there. So actually with the removal of the tree, now you can get a fire truck through there. Before, the way it was placed, there was no way to get a fire truck in between there, but I've removed that tree and 2 other trees on the property. So I've done a lot of improvements on the property. I'm hoping that that it gets approved so that I can move forward and continue to improve the property.
Very good. Roy, anything to add to this at all for
No, it's just your typical non-conformities that we see with a lot of different properties.
all right? Anybody else have anything to talk about 94 Greenbush before I?
The only other thing is you may have to, because he's changed the structure, you may have to adjust the easement. That's on the property.
The easement in favor of the neighbor? Or
Yeah, so they've got a,
access these.
they got a shared portion of it.
Okay.
The driveway's shared kind of right there, so they might have to adjust that easement. The old structure was right on the easement.
Yeah, that would be something that you would need to do, is there's an access easement, that, restricts some of the usage, and you need to make sure that that still is, that whoever that easement is in favor of, assuming it says a neighbor.
It's shared.
Shared. Okay,
Yeah,
between two.
The property line goes right down the middle of our shared driveway.
Okay,
And Nancy's a wonderful neighbor. All of my neighbors are wonderful. I know she's all in agreement.
yeah.
She's, everybody passes by the places, you're doing a great job. So I'm really hoping that, we can get that.
What you should secure is something from her that acknowledges that the work you're going to do does not affect the easement.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would suggest that you do.
Okay, you want that just as a letter, and
That would be fine, just
That's
something.
a legal document that goes on, that's. What's Mr. Lewis was here, that's an attachment to their deed.
Yeah.
It has to get adjusted there.
And we have, maybe, even, the, I have one like that too, and I know that anything that is done, if I agree, or if I wanna do something, the person on whom the burden is.
Right.
Easement is in my favor on the burden of neighbor. If we agree to it, he would just write me a letter.
Yeah, but just to be, just to be clear though, the garage is not even going near that easement. I mean, the garage sat right on her property
Yeah.
line, and now I'm moving it away from the property line,
Yeah.
so I'm actually.
But you're changing. You're changing the document, so the document has to have to reflect the changes.
Yeah.
So-
Whatever you need, I'll be glad to do it.
Okay.
Nancy's very, very willing to sign or do whatever.
Okay.
So, the process is get that letter, if I drop that off tomorrow,
Let's move.
I'm gonna ask our council here, this, our applicant has, is replacing a structure with a new pre-built structure, pretty much on the same footprint. Yet it still is encroaching within, the property line, or at least the distances is required to have a variance. There's an easement for access, as I understand, that they share. It's not in favor of either. I think that, I can't remember the term for that, but my thought is that we would, if we granted the easement or granted the variance, that he would then secure a letter from the only other party to the easement. It's him, and his neighbor, that acknowledges what he's doing as of this date, and I don't think he needs to record anything, but I'm not there to say, ask that.
The neighbor was good with it.
oh, yeah, she signed a letter already saying that there's no problem with it, where it's being placed. Just to be clear, this is the structure, the red is the new structure, here are the two driveways, but it's not even anywhere near our shared driveways.
Okay.
This is the shared driveway, my property line is right here, obviously, I'm moving the shed away, this is gone already, the garage is gone, the shed's gonna be just put right in here. And again, this is the shared driveway, really doesn't seem to be involved, but I'll be glad to get whatever I need.
And was the letter already in the file?
I have a letter that says that,
He's getting that.
I have a letter in the file that says that she has no problems where the garage is being placed.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's already given a letter that says she has no problems with it.
Yeah, it's in the file.
I think you can move ahead
It's the
with it
last
tonight.
page of the documents in the.
Yep. All right,
Thank you.
yeah, I didn't think we had to record anything, so.
Yeah, no.
Good. Good, anybody else to speak on this, property, again, one more time? Good, I'm gonna entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Second. Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Okay, I'm gonna go through our questions. And, you're welcome to come in and have a seat. The following test will be considered by the zoning board of appeals to determine whether the variance way the granting or denial of the area variance request. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby property will be created by the granting of the area variance. And so, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance? No. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, pretty small, scopes, and, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions of in the neighborhood or district, I don't know. And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily include granting the area variance. And again, I think that'll on down, it's something that pre-existed even their ownership, I think, so, it's, 5 no's on that, Andy. I'll entertain a motion, I'll make a motion to approve the area variances as submitted. Motion's been made. I'll make the second area variances and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Your variance is granted, and Andy will have something for you there. To make up and sign. All right, next agenda item. Myself. I don't want to do. Next agenda item is, 20 South Ave, area variance, this is plural, non-overlaw, seeks variances for pre-existing non-conformities. For the purpose of constructing an 18 by 24 foot addition to a detached garage. Is Mr. Overbaugh here or anybody to speak on that? I don't see anybody, report on that. Roy, do you have anything to add to this?
No, again, it's just typical, the pre-existing non-conformities that we fixed to make an addition.
Yeah, you're just doing the same thing we've seen frequently, so, we've seen no comments. I'm gonna entertain a motion to close any public hearing. Second has been made. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, I will go through the questions again. Again, the following tests will be considered by the zoning board of appeals to determine whether the variance in weighing the granting or denial of the area variance request. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. I think no, it's a shed, it's not that big of a deal. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. No, I think this is the best method for it, considering this pre-existing non-conformities. Whether the requested, number three, whether the requested area variance is substantial. Again, I don't believe this is, it's pretty commonplace for us here. When whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. I have to go no on that. Now, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily include the granting of the area variance. And of course, I think it's yes, that, with the placement of the shed. And that the fact that the non-conformities existed prior. And so it does say, Roy, variance is plural. Am I missing one that I didn't see or,
There should be, if you look at,
wow, the front yard, okay, oh, there it is, all right. Sure did, all right, good.
Yeah, my use of plurals.
Yes, video.
Hi.
Well,
And well,
you want to come on in and have a seat? And, good. Going through these now. This is number two, right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, we have four yes, or four no's and one yes, Andy, in that order. I will entertain a motion on this, variance for 20 South Ave. I'll make a motion, to approve the area variances plural for, Ron Overbaugh, 20 South Ave. Vote for second. A second. Second has been made, and all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries, and Roy will get to, telling this person, this applicant about the, need to come in and sign his documents. Next up is, 25 Mildred Avenue. Kathy Lee Marks.
That's good.
Seeks variance, the Meadows side, and seeks variances for pre-existing non-conformities for the purpose of constructing a 10 by 8 foot gazebo and 7 foot shed, two structures.
I don't really have nothing to say about it. I just let you know.
so all the new structures will be conforming, they'll be 4 feet off the property line or where they should be. Again, this is just taking care of pre-existing non-conformities.
Yep. And those are listed there, and again, they're, it's the same. And the new two new structures, there isn't anything that limits how close they can be.
Yeah, they can't be, they gotta be, 4 foot out of property,
Okay,
which they will.
okay.
The new structures are in conformity.
Gotcha, yep, good. All right, thank you. If you have nothing more to add,
Nothing.
then nobody else here to speak on this one, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
sorry.
Motion's been made seconded, and, we'll now go through the question, oh, have to vote on it. Aye, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Sorry about that. Go through these questions again, the following tests will be considered by the zoning board of appeals to determine whether the variance is weighing, granting, or denial of the area variance request. Number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. I don't think so. This is, and structures are pretty small. Number two, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. I think she's done the correct way of correcting non-conformities, and then, as Roy has said, the sketches are improved for placement according to the zoning. So, again, I think no on that one. Number three, whether the requested area variance is substantial. I don't believe so. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Roy, was it there? There wasn't any flood issues or anything like that. I'm not really familiar with that area.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's not anything like that, so I don't think that applies either, so I'm gonna go with no on that one.
There was, you'd see one of those floodplain
Had one of
bells.
those asked would have come in. And number five, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Yes, it was self-created because she desires to add structures to the house, so I'm gonna go with 4 no's and a yes. Because any changes, now, we have Andy, I'll entertain a motion to approve area variances on 25 Mildred, is that what it is? Okay. So now, I'll make a motion to approve. Motion's been made and I'll second, and all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. You'll use something for you to sign and then you're
Thank you.
good to go on what you're doing. We have a probably we had a correction to make on that one because they had
Yes, the individual's name is Louis Alvarez.
Louis Alvarez, okay?
That's kind of for you.
There's no.
Thank you.
So, 16 Pomeroy Street is now our number 4 agenda item. Louis Alvarez will make that correction on the agenda. Seeks to variances for pre-existing non-conformities for the purpose of installing an above ground pool. Mr. Alvarez here, or anybody joining, you want to speak on this one? I don't see anybody there.
I'd like to say something.
Oh, certainly. I'm sorry, I didn't see behind the. You're welcome to come on up to the stand here.
I live at 70 Pomeroy, and I own the property at 70 Pomeroy and 98 East Court, which that back property borders my 2 properties. What is he asking about the pool?
He is, he's seeking a variance for pre-existing non-conformities
With the exception of pool, that pool is right on her property.
on her property line. Okay,
Yes, it is.
okay. So the pool is not built yet, or,
No, it's a-
No, it's there.
It's
It's
there.
an above ground.
So we're acting on a complaint
okay,
from the
from the
neighborhood,
neighbor, and he's now seeking to
fix the problem.
fix it. Okay,
What is he gonna do to fix it?
it's a good question. And since he's not here, I'll have to rely on.
He's home.
He
He was there
has
when I left.
a permit He doesn't have a permit yet, but he's gone through all the application processes. Just waiting to hear back.
So he hasn't heard back from the county, is that what he's waiting
No,
on?
this went to the county, it's been sent back, he's waiting here, this is the first time he's been on.
Okay, so he's built the structure, he intends to leave it where.
Temporary, it's one of those temporary pools, but it's still structured by definition.
Yes, yeah, you have to take it down and bring it, do a lot of things and move it.
Yeah, which shouldn't be that huge,
Okay.
huge big a deal, the rest of them all, again, pre-existing, with the exception of that pool being on the
Okay.
property.
Just thinking about these
But
questions.
there's an existing pad already there that pool is on, I think that's
Okay.
under an old gazebo. Garden kind of thing, that was
He
there.
originally had the pool farther back in the yard for years.
Okay.
We went away, came back, the first week in July, he had two pools in the
And
driveway.
that's this year? this
Yes.
fall, Two.
He had the one farther back and then he put that one right at our borderline. He took the other one down, I think because the liner broke and left that one up.
Okay.
They swam in it, they used the pool for 2 weeks, then it was full of algae for the rest of July. They haven't been in that pool for most of the month. And it is right on my property line. And for years, he's had all his toys, his kids' toys on our border of our property every summer.
Mhm. Okay.
And the kids use my properties, both 98 East Court and 70 Pomeroy, they're on my property, they're in my driveway all the time, riding their bikes. That second pool, I don't like where it is. It's very close, it's on top of my property.
So you're in the corner? of-
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll ask, Roy, is there another place that this pool can go?
Yeah, they could move it off the property, I should.
Okay, I think, I'm hearing from you that you don't want it to remain where it is.
No, they could be in the pool, they could monkey around, they could throw one of the kids or just fall out of it and hit my shed.
It's that close. yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's on top of my property. And right now, the skimmer thing that they use on the water, that is on my property.
Okay, all right. That will help us when we get to these questions that we found here, it seems like, there's something unresolved with this, in regards to the neighbor, and I think we have to sustain what you're bringing to us when there's an alternative, and as we checked, it seems like there's an alternative to this. Thank you very much.
It's a bad situation in the back. I'm trying to
Yep.
sell 98 East Court. My husband is not well. And I've had 9 showings, and when they go out the back door, they don't like what they see in that backyard.
It's too low, yeah, and that's where it's that property that you're having the border of the property, issue, that 98 west or east court.
Mhm.
Yeah, gotcha, all right.
The owner, Mr. Kokolos, has made some attempts to, not the tenant, owner, Mr. Kokolos, and I have been working, he's got the house painted, it's starting to look, more presentable
And then this is the owner of the,
of the actual property, the pool guy's the tenant.
is Alvarez the applicant?
Alvarez
He's
is
the-
the applicant, he's the tenant.
He's
He's
the
the
renter,
tenant.
rents the home.
Okay, I thought, okay,
There's like 6 kids in the house.
I believe she runs the foster home, however.
okay. This helps out, so the owner the applicant is not the owner.
But if you look in the packet, there's
Yeah, that's
permission to apply.
Yes. Very good. Okay, good deal. Thank you for letting us know this, it's informative, so if you, there's a place to put your name and your, address there, sorry, that I didn't write columns up there, but thought maybe I had something up there for you, but, it'll be, we'll just use that for the record, event that we need to, revisit this. I'm gonna, with nobody else to speak on this, I'm assuming, nothing else from Roy or anything like that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. And the motion has been made and seconded, all in favor, signify by stating aye. Aye. Okay, following tests will be considered by the zoning board of appeals to determine whether the variance is weighing the granting or denial of the area variance request. Number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. I think it will. In this case, I think she has clearly explained that, she has, as the adjacent owner, she has some serious issues about that, so I'm gonna go with yes on that unless you guys think differently. Number two, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. No, I think he could not have it in there in the first place, but that's a follow-up question. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, I think it's a no again, even though she has clearly some issues with, the encroachment onto her property line. And therefore into the area covered by the variant, by zoning setbacks, and whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. It's hard to say, neighborhood wise. I know that if you're encroaching onto a neighbor, I don't think that's a good thing. I don't know how you square that, make that something that was and I'd say no, it's not environmental, and it's more of a issue with ownership. Now, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily preclude granting of the area variance. I think there, yes, it is clearly self-created. So I have yes.
If he moves the pool off that property line, and then that would eliminate that being the problem.
Yeah.
Everything else would be pre-existing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say to.
so we could grant it and condition it on that.
That's,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that he's not here, so I'm just.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, within the guidelines of. I get what we would require, yeah, given variance of 4 foot.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have about 4 foot.
But he doesn't need a variance at all if he's gonna move the pool, correct?
No, there's a couple of non-conformities that are pre-existing.
The other nonconformities
Are,
are up to the owner to apply for, not intended.
yeah, I agree, I think you're right, I thought when I didn't know until she clarified that, so.
The owner did give permission for.
Yeah, I guess I mean, there's still do an area variance either way, but whether it be the owner or the applicant, I guess is.
So. My feeling is if we grant him the variance singular on the pool. And he moves it, it doesn't need the variance anymore.
Well, it does, because they're pre-existing.
There are other ones, okay.
So you can grant the other ones and deny the variance on
And
the pool.
tie them to that, to the action that he's.
Just deny the variance on the pool.
Yeah, okay, thank you, and we could, I think that's.
But I'm also just saying what we. Approve it by the condition of 4 foot and not less. So we don't come back.
Good,
I like that.
all right. You think you go and have the language for a motion, entertain that, and
I'll make the motion to approve the area variances at 68 Harvard Street with the condition of the pool. Be at least 4 foot off the property line and all the other pre-existing non-conformities approved.
I'll second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries conditional, Annie, and if you need any clarification on that, give that,
No, all set.
good deal. All right, we're gonna start, again with the top of our original agenda, which is 8 and 8.5 South Ave. Area variances, Peter Dennedy seeks variance for pre-existing non-conformities for the purpose of subdividing the parcel into 2 lots. At 8 and 8.5 through 10.5 South Ave. The board will discuss the need for a use variance for the pre-existing non-conforming rooming house located at 8 South Ave.
So at the last meeting, the board requested, to scale drawing of the parking and what he was doing there, so, Mr. Betty brought these in. Last week.
Okay. Okay.
Supposedly, I'm putting out.
Clarify, Tom, this is not a use variance.
Yeah, I thought that was correct, and you,
This is not a use variance. The use is pre-existent.
yeah, so. This discussed and did we? All right, I see why I got messed up like that. It's always been a use, an area variance, but what about the use of the rooming house?
It's pre-existing non-conformity.
That's another one, okay. Okay,
It's, and the discussion was, or to, I guess we'll,
yeah, tell us what you've come up with in terms of what we asked you to do, what you've, what we.
You wanted a site plan, 2 separate site plans for the 2 parcels that were subdivided.
Okay.
There's one for 8.5, 10.5, and one for 8 South. I had marked out where the parking spaces would be. According to the code, I need 2 parking spaces for the 8 South portion of it. And
Okay,
parking number 1 and parking number 2.
How many rooms are at 8 South Ave?
11.
You need 11 parking spaces for 8 South.
Last time you told me I only need 2.
You need 8,
Are you going back on your word then?
not telling you only need 2, you need it, so it's 1 per room.
But it's pre-existing.
You're right, it is pre-existing.
We didn't need
Yeah.
all those parking spaces prior to this.
And the county recognized that, I'm just making it clear for these guys, okay? The county recognized that it's a needed structure, county recognized that it's supposed to be there, the county also recognizes that most of the clients for that property won't have vehicles. But
Almost all of them, in my memory.
I understand that, but they have to be aware of the situation, okay? By the law, it's required to have 11 parking spaces. But the county recognized differently because of it, and the county recognized the need if you look at the county's recommendations.
So you're saying there's an exception,
There's never an exception.
so
I'm just telling you, they get, whatever decision they make has to be based on what the county does, I'm just pointing it out.
the county asked for more detailed. Details on proposed parking.
Yeah, we said,
that's the next meeting, right? At 6:15, is that what we're talking
No,
about?
they want that for us,
Yeah.
provide us, not.
Oh, you don't know what they're gonna say. They may or may not say 11, they may say 2.
so the parking's up to the planning board.
Yeah.
These guys are the area variances, the planning board can't even vote on this until they make their decision.
Right, we need to see.
You're recommending 2 is acceptable, as we discussed in the last
I would
meeting?
ask the attorney sitting right next to you.
but this is something that comes up when when you have something that is. Requested like what you're doing.
Yeah.
When you subdivide, you're doing something that's very permanent. A deed has to be recorded, it has to. A survey being done and things like that, and then at that point.
Mhm.
the language restricting that, I think would be the kind of thing we would wanna see placed in that, in record of that transaction, reflecting the subdivision. So I'll allow Mr. Lewis to weigh in on that, because I think, going from 11 parking spots, I'm confused as to why you're even wanting to do it, but I'm gonna let you explain, a little more about.
I did say it, last time.
Yep,
The buyer, apparently he can't get a commercial lender, he has
yeah,
a regular lender, so he wants to subdivide it.
okay, the lender does, or the
The
buyer,
buyer, yeah,
lenders are one and the same, okay?
they're not, the buyer and lender are not one and the same, but his lender is a private, institution, it's not. So he can't do a rooming house under that loan. So he's gonna do that personal,
Yeah,
he's gonna pay that out of his pocket. His personal funds for the 8 South commercial end of it.
okay,
So, and then once it's divided, he's gonna get a loan for the other half.
okay. Is this chronology, is this in his application about when, the stages of what's going to happen? Because I think this is it's complicated in terms of, we're doing this
This is
to
the same thing,
facilitate.
the same thing that happened on the property down the street with the exact same owner that we've discussed.
Yeah,
That you guys did all this approval down the street
yeah,
and nothing's been done because it just got, the sale just went through.
June 6th, and even if he, got a company to pave that lot, wouldn't be done this year, it's too late.
okay, I don't think I have enough information. Did you guys make anything from this in terms of parking and anything that's detailed enough? I just don't know that I have what I need, but
You see the parking one,
I do,
you see the dimensions, and parking 2 has dimensions, very large.
I have 8.5.
Yeah.
I have. Well, I'll have you come up here and show us what we're looking at here. I have,
You still own one south there?
No, it's been sold. I'm sure the owner wouldn't be adverse to renting spaces out there either. That's the reason.
That would be my.
Yeah.
But if you still own one south end, you could use it as ancillary.
He's gonna use the bottom half for storage, he's gonna have to fix up the 2-bedroom. His insurance company insists, and then he has all that space, he could rent out spaces. Parking.
well,
But here, where are we? Alright, so this is 4 South, and this is the lot that's part of 4 and 6, so. And this isn't even the full dimensions, goes even further back, but it's a pretty big area.
so this parking area.
Probably fit 10 cars there, you can see,
Okay,
Is there not a building there currently?
there's no building. There used to be a building, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago,
and,
it burned down apparently.
okay, we had 6, 4, or,
Yeah, the 6 has their own parking space.
okay, and you own that,
I don't own it anymore.
okay? All right,
So, okay, so this is kind of what we would like to be more detailed later.
Yeah,
Where parking and
When-
spaces.
I could draw a couple of lines.
well, I'm gonna stop you there, because we have, there are standards, and I know you've been to these meetings before, and I know, I'm sorry that it's gonna cost you, but there has to be.
Mr. Faisal, for the second time in the recommendations to go see him. Apparently it says he'll do it, but after that, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't answer, so
Okay,
forget him.
but what I would do is tell him that,
I'm not dealing with Mr. Faisal anymore.
There's other
Yeah,
design professionals out there that can draw, that can make
Yeah,
a CAD drawing to.
all you need is parking spaces, I can finish this.
yeah, well, if you can do it to the point where you're communicating to us exactly what you're doing, I'm all in favor of you, you know, rendering something, but. I can't make, and I'm not speaking for these guys, but we're having a hard time understanding. The layout of what you're proposing to be something that, once it's subdivided, it's done, that's as permanent.
This is just about the parking.
I wanna see a sketch of the parking, the ingress, egress. How they're gonna go in, because there's some, there, you know,
He already has a driveway here.
then that's the kind of thing we need to, do this for the public record, we've got
Got people like,
and all that has, but I wanna be able to see it.
here's the width, here's the length.
Again, we need to see a design that you can hand to a guy who has construction business and he can go build it. That's basically the point where we're at, and when you bring that into us, and if it makes, you know, if it is something that we think is possible. I think you're set, but I can't, this is not something you can go out there with, probably with many contractors and just work on it. But we have to be able to say, this is what he's gonna inspect someday, but it's done.
Yeah.
And he can't make out that decision, and we can't make sure that it is, and neither can council people. If council people wanna see it, what am I gonna tell them? I can't literally
I'll
tell them,
get that done, I don't think it's a big deal.
okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna table you again, and let you work with Roy, and if Roy needs me, I'm available to help him out with something in terms of your sketches and stuff like that, but it has to be something that we can really think is a go-to-work type of plan, you know, that's what I'm.
So at this juncture, you would need to deny it. and
Okay,
then
because we've already
bring it
taken,
back.
yeah,
Yeah,
so.
we'd
Yeah.
be beyond the 60
Okay,
days.
I think you're right, yeah, well, defer to you on that, so.
We also made comments about the neighbor having a right of way and having that documented, right?
Yeah.
Did you get any information on that?
What right away? He's gonna own all those properties.
Yes. The neighbor,
The neighbor at 10,
And
you both got the address, the 10, the one that's in front, had a right away there?
The one that came in at the last meeting, she made it very clear that she owns that driveway, but we have an easement. So,
okay,
yes, the, these.
and when I went to measure as I was required, well, she made some kind of fuss, let me tell you.
well, this is where, I don't know if you were here for the earlier agenda items, we were talking about an easement.
Yeah.
That's where you have to, there has to be an agreement by that person, who, onto whom the burden is to allow you the easement.
The easement is existing.
Okay, but it's existing for the current use. And what she has to do, or whoever has the easement is burdened upon her. Has to agree that the use that you're proposing, which is for parking. And subdivision and what have you, is acceptable.
The parking is already existing in the driveway. I'm not doing anything to her side of the subdivision. No changes.
I mean, but, well. We're requiring you to design a shuttle that to done.
I see,
That would be the. So there's a parking area that you just.
that's number one. Yeah. And the parking area is on the other side of the house. It's not on her side.
Okay.
This is her house. This is just access to the back house. So.
Yep.
Nothing else is changing. Parking's already existing. There's gonna be a line between 8 and 8.5.
But so this new area you're proposing for parking has nothing to do with this?
No, that's not gonna change at all. There's no parking over there. Parking is in the back if people choose to park in front of the garages. Yeah.
Right. Here again, we're all kind of agreeing that what you need to provide us is something on one sheet that shows everything you're going to do. Existing and proposed. Something that we can then conclude that we all understand exactly what's going on. I wanna see the area of the existing easement. described and designed on the new sketch. The parking areas have to be, we have to show how they ingress, how they egress. And it doesn't have to be something, but I think you're gonna need to wanna get somebody who can sketch this for you and put it all together. 8.5, 10.5, and have it all be, cause your applications group them together,
And it's to scale.
and it's to
You can't
scale.
just Draw lines. over
Yeah, it has to be something that shows us, something that we can then share with our council and our council members and other staff here, because they're used to looking at sketch plans. All of us are got a pretty good idea about what you wanna do, but I can't. If we grant this and I'm called in on it, so I really don't know what to tell them you're going to do. Unless I have a sketch.
You know what I'm gonna do, just don't at the lines of the
Well,
actual.
yes, and that I need in order to know what I want, what I want to do. That's what I know, but I have to.
I can find out what size the parking spaces have to be, and we need to go spend a ton of money. Having an office that will redo everything.
You would.
There's nobody here that's gonna make you do something that's not what we ask everybody to do. We ask every single applicant before us to make things that are understandable.
Yeah.
And,
He's gonna need a survey plat to get this approved by the planning commission
Yeah.
anyway, so if he had a surveyor put this on the survey plat, it would make it much easier.
then I think this is less complicated than you might think it is. If
You're gonna need to get a survey to get through the next step anyway, so just have the surveyor draw this all out.
Already surveyed,
Okay,
they could just make the adjustment, I would assume, right?
well, a lot of what they have is all electronic. And he can dial this up, these tax parcel numbers, and then he can start sketching you and do it in about 2 hours time.
They're saying this survey company that we had previously, they can finish this information that you're requiring.
They should
They
be.
should be able to do that, that's their capability.
Yeah, they can plug in the dimensions of the
Right,
parking area right into the CAD, and it'll give us a key that'll show what scale is. Like that, we just get.
No.
right,
All right.
right, keep working on it, I'm sorry that we've.
When is this gonna be going again?
As soon as you apply with the information that.
I've got it, I'm not gonna make you reply, you just gotta give me that information.
So is it, do I need to stay for the next meeting or is that this?
So they can't approve it without that.
No, they'll be striking the agenda on that, and not really going forward.
All right.
It's not as far away, I can get you on the next meeting, because you don't gotta go to the county again, everything's all right, we'll get you on the next agenda.
You just have to get through us, and then, like I said, we have to be able to see something that we'll be back.
Because that section that says part of land cannot be divided unless it's conforming.
Right.
Unless these guys make it conforming with a variance, you can't even get to the next level.
Right, okay. I'll contact the survey company tomorrow. So I can,
Yep, I think that's a good.
all right,
Good move.
okay.
Very good.
No need to paperwork or anything, I'll take, you just give me that and we'll push it forward.
I'm going to.
Best we can.
Based on the discussion here before, I'm gonna move to, deny the application for 8.5 South Avenue area variances. Look for a second. Second, by Dave, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. This, motion only is denied. Now we're gonna move on to our last agenda item, previous agenda item number 2, which is 52 Clayton Ave, area variances. Mark Pace seeks variances for pre-existing nonconformities and for exceeding maximum allowable parking. Seeks to expand parking into green space in the rear of the parcel. Mark, are you able to tell us anything about this application?
Yeah.
On the College Hill. There happens to be. Approximately. 14 parking lots. Of varying dimensions. With lot coverages not giving them enough grade space. So. I'm wanting to put in a parking lot roughly 80 by 38. Behind the house. My 3 neighbors down the hill. Have parking lots already in their backyards. There's a parking lot at 39 Clayton Ave. 46, 48, and 50 Clayton Ave. 55 Clayton Ave. 87 Tompkins, 37 Prospect Terrace, and 18 Prospect Terrace. I think there's a few more, but they all come out on this. Monroe Heights has parking lots at 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. I have a drawing from Chuck Feisley showing drainage, 2 manhole covers, 2 dry wells.
Can you hand that to them, Mark?
Yeah.
I also got a police report in the last 10 years, and there's never been a call up there for disturbance. There was one call, one of the tenants heard something, so they called the police department. They came up, there was no one there. So, but it was nobody making noise. Looking for one piece of paper. A lot of these other parking lots don't have concrete, they don't have blacktop. I'm gonna go with concrete. I went to the middle of the property. And I face north, south, east, and west. Took photographs. Only one house can see the parking lot. The other was polar mediums from across the street. I can take anybody up in that parking lot, do a 360. It's the only house that can see it. I'm not saying it's the only, somebody coming in and see it from one angle. So I'm covering my bases. And I think I've covered everything. But like I said, the main thing is I'm planning on doing concrete. And a lot of them up there now don't have blacktop or concrete or driveway. Thank you.
So not having concrete leads to them. Gradually making the lot bigger because you
Yeah,
follow the stone and what is 20 feet is then 25 feet in the 10 years, it's 40 feet, so.
Yeah, yeah, and if in fact, you know, these designs, and I'm assuming that the designs were like this, similar, were done or not. Because we have, as you know, and I walk there, I'm just talking anecdotally, but me from living there and walking there frequently, an average rainfall, less than average rainfall.
I have zero control over what was approved before I.
I know that, This is where, I just, the way impervious coverage works, it doesn't take much on a sloping landscape like that to have something that is pretty dramatic, and I know that the
He's got-
public works people will affirm that for you too.
He's got two drywalls going in, did I hear that right? Two?
Yep.
That should by the engine,
mitigate that?
but should, but the engineer was supposed to figure that out. I mean, that's why he's got two there. I'm not an engineer, nor did I sleep at the Holiday Express last night, but.
Yeah,
Chuck fires.
I get it. I don't doubt some of these are, yeah, I think that's an improvement on what's there. And I agree with you that the other parking lots are just basically pushed aside. To allow for it, but I wanna get back at um. Placing, the other parking lots have ownership that is all consolidated, you're kind of on your own there. And you do have other neighbors who are, I believe, going to speak some tonight about, that are ready to come up and talk to us about the impact of that. I certainly can respect you as in the business of, and it's a business, of needing to have parking for your customers, i.e. your tenants. But we're going to pay heavy regard to the interests of the neighbors, which does not occur in the other area. At least I haven't heard of anything that occurred when those were either approved or just flat out built. So, it may be that I wanna call and ask you a couple of things about, like, for instance, how many people do you propose to live there? I remember we had, I think you came before us to have a variance.
Hang on, we're getting a little far here.
No, but I
I
mean,
mean, at this point, we need to open it up for public comment. If the board wants to enter into deliberations after that.
okay.
But continuing down this road too far before the public's had a chance to comment, we need to stop
I'll
here.
do that. With that in mind, I'm gonna call up anybody who wants to speak on this issue, and we'll reopen our discussion soon thereafter. Can somebody take a pen there if you don't have one?
There's some underneath them.
So my name is Carrie Crees. I live at 22 Stevenson Street, which is on top of, what is it, South Shady? I don't know, of, YouTube Play, and I have just prepared a letter, to read. Members of the zoning board, the house located at 52 Clayton Avenue is an R1 low density residential zoning district. Purpose statement for R1 districts listed in 321 of the code states that future development and investment should ensure the continuation of the existing neighborhood's traditional development pattern, generally consisting of owner-occupied, single-family detached homes. This is not a single-family permanent residence. It was purchased by Mark Pace at 824 Glen Lane on 9/5/2017. The current zoning variance application for the property of 52 Clayton is to accommodate a single-family dwelling that has been converted into student housing. Pertaining to the zoning variance, currently on the agenda, the residence has a driveway and a paved parking area in the rear of the house. The residence also has a 2-car garage and a cement slab that was once a 1-car garage. The garage spaces have capacity for 3 cars, and the parking area is enough space for 3 additional cars for a total of 6 spaces of off-street parking. The survey map dated 8/21/2017, that's in the file, he submitted was, shows the driveway as an asphalt driveway extending approximately 100 feet from the sidewalk. It shows an additional 200 square feet next to the 2-car garage. This, along with a 576 square foot garage and 256 square foot cement slab, should be plenty enough to accommodate 6 cars in the driveway. For section 383 of the zoning law of off-street parking requirements, the maximum number of parking spaces shall not exceed 200% of the requirement outlined in table 383, required parking. Table 383 states that single-family dwellings that are rental non-owner occupied properties are required to have 2 parking spaces per dwelling. 200% of this would be equal to 6 total spaces. Considering the property can already accommodate this number of parking spaces, the requested variance for 8 parking spots is excessive. Indeed, the requested variance for additional impervious coverage of 0.05 acres, which is equivalent to 3,078 feet, to park 8 cars would be in addition to the current available parking spaces, which could conceivably mean parking up to 14 cars. Before the house was purchased in 2017, it was occupied by an elderly couple, Llewellyn and Sanford, who lived there since before we moved in 2006. It is currently listed on Zillow as a 1,700 square foot home with 5 beds and 2 baths. When sold in 2017, the house, originally built in 1929, was listed on Realtor.com as a 3-bedroom, 680 square foot house. The house was not built to accommodate so many cars. The variance would create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood by adding an unnecessary parking lot to a single-family dwelling in an R1 low-density zoning district. This is a continuation of landlords pushing student housing into a zoning district that's intended for single-family permanent residents. This would also negatively affect the property values of the neighboring single-family residences, given the proximity of a large volume of student rental parking for single-family dwelling to our home. When we look out our bedroom window, which you'll see in a minute, we already see the equivalent of a Walmart parking lot. I said 2 sentences. Walmart parking lot, spotlight and all. This is not what we bought into nearly 20 years ago. We were surrounded by families. Accommodating this variance opposes the very nature and legitimate purpose of the R1 district zoning to preserve the character of a single family area, including reducing parking and traffic problems and controlling population density.
Thank you. Is that you, Tim, that letter that you've written, if you, want it to be in the public record, I would, provide a copy to Andy and he'll make sure it's part of the record. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. My name is Jim Wilkinson.
You put your name on there as well, there, Chuck, so, if we, must be clicking that again.
And I also live at 22 Stevenson Street with my wife Carrie Fries. And as she mentioned, the back of our property on Stevenson Street fits as the property line at Clayton Avenue. I'm also a professor at SUNY Portland. So a couple things I'd like to share with the zoning board. One is a picture, and I believe we took this last fall. And it is a picture looking out our carport area on 252 Clayton. You can see, at least last fall, there's 2 cars there at 52 Clayton in front of their garage. But also you notice 10 cars in the large parking lots that are below 52 Clayton. As presented in the materials for the variance application, also as shown by this picture, and as what Carrie mentioned, the variance is asking for 3,075 square foot paving of this backyard. That's a substantial area loss, and in fact, it's greater than the area of the house itself, and that would be a significant loss of green space. I also want to share with the zoning board that we just presented a petition of 45 signatures from Portland City residents. Some are here. 14 of these signatures are in the immediate area neighborhood, mainly on West Court Street. Our neighbors signed our petition mainly from the south side of West Court Street and on Pleasant Street, because their properties line up with the property line of 52 Clayton Street and where this 8-car backyard business parking lot would be. Other of our neighbors on the north side of West Court Street also signed it. I also want to share with the zoning board and ask them to think critically about the future of 52 Clayton. Obviously, this student housing, as most student housing, is temporary, meaning there are not students there over the summer. Yet they are asking for a permanent change in the exterior of paved or asphalt large parking lot. What would happen to all student housing, like at 52 Clayton Street, when SUNY Cortland enrollment goes down, or if SUNY Cortland builds a new dorm on campus? There's going to be less number of students looking for off-campus housing. These off-campus housing, like 52 Clayton, will be empty. Maybe they'll be sold for lower profit to low-income housing. They'll be neglected, not occupied. This certainly will affect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. I'd like to share with the zoning board just one additional comment, and this is actually really important that you may not be aware of. Stevenson Street is unique between West Court and Parkway Terrace. In that part of that section of Stevenson Street has no sidewalks. You could not walk from Parkway Terrace to West Court without going on the road. By having this parking lot with now 8 cars, the additional students and density of students in that area, now there's gonna be more car traffic, more students walking down the middle of Stevenson Street. As we know, college students, they're gonna be distracted on their phones, they may be out partying, and now there's more traffic and they can't walk on the sidewalk. There's a portion where you can't walk. So this is not safe. So adding more parking spaces, more car traffic, greater diversity. So for these reasons I just mentioned, what Carrie mentioned as well, we don't support approval of variance for an 8-car backyard apparent business parking lot at 52 Clayton. We urge the zoning board not to reject this variance. Thanks.
Thank you again. Do you have anything, you mentioned a petition, and if you can, and you provided that to Andy, that's a copy of that. Can I ask you a question from the board here? I heard you mention, the figure 6 parking spaces. Is that something that, is there 8 cars versus 6 cars? Is that something that could possibly be, acceptable? I with you on understanding the impact of the neighborhood, but when you enumerate something like that, if we're thinking about how we might approach that with Mr. Pace, that something that you think from your, being an adjacent neighbor and being, so your border right there,
Sure.
is that
So,
something that might be acceptable?
As a neighbor and as our fellow neighbors are here, and what was described, Clayton Street and others have a lot of these
Yeah,
big, large backyard parking lots.
yes, and
That is not residential.
no,
That's
that's
something
something,
else.
that's something that it has to be brought up to your council people, and I know
So-
that, it's
so-
something
There's
that's.
already space for cars.
Yeah.
So our concern is we don't want yet another backyard parking lot.
Yeah,
And what Carrie mentioned and described is currently, they've been able to put cars. In the driveways and on this old 1-car parking garage where there's a concrete slab. So they've been able to put cars there. As far as I know, they are not using the 2-car garage, so there's space for 2 additional cars in a 2-car garage.
so it be, so
So we would,
if we looked at 6 parking spaces inclusive of a 2-car garage, which would be
and the current, I mean, there's currently a concrete
in
slab.
driveway and areas elsewhere, so.
Our concern and our neighbor's concern is certainly with the building of these backyard parking
Yeah,
lots.
I completely agree with you, and I think that a bigger issue is, as we've heard and will hear, is the impervious coverage. And its impact on something that's very top of the hill.
Yes.
Combined with a college that has impervious coverage as well as the other parking lots behind the student houses. In looking at that, I'm thinking, and I'm hearing maybe additional 4 using the garage space, and then the existing impervious that's there behind the house is something that might accommodate that structure in terms of tenant structure for that house.
We would not like to see
Yeah.
a large backyard parking lot.
Yeah, all right. But thanks for bringing that to our attention. Is anybody else here interested in speaking to the issue?
I have a question, do I have to get on?
Yes.
Never mind. So, maybe I'm the only one that doesn't understand this. Is there a ratio between how many bedrooms and parking spots you're allowed, or how many tenants?
Well, yes, if you might have remembered from the previous, there
Yeah,
is something that does relate to that.
That was a boarding.
But that's something, yeah, it's a different, entirely different zoning era classification there. as far as what.
So is there a limit based on bedrooms or occupants to how many cars?
No.
No,
Oh,
There's not.
so now you're looking at like guest parking and you could
well,
have people pay for parking?
yeah, legal parking, and what's an example of something not legal is parking on lawns.
Right,
Parking and just have, parking on the street.
so there's no limit to how much parking regardless of how few people are living in a house? Few people.
Well, there is, because it's what, one of the things that we would look at is, I think if you've been here, you listened to me go through these.
Yes, yeah,
questions that
I
I
have, yeah.
almost remember by heart now after doing this for a couple of years. If we look at things and determine that there's a word that is kind of, subjective, but it's substantial.
Mhm.
And if somebody is telling me, if a whole bunch of neighbors are coming in here and telling me that, yeah, adding significant areas of, adding parking to the degree it's being proposed is a problem, I would call that significant. I'd be perfectly confident in saying that, and taking that as an opinion.
I'm just wondering if 6 is enough? Or do you add maybe 2?
I think the consensus that I'm hearing is we wanna try to do as few as possible.
Right.
That allows for this use,
Okay.
but also, is less than what the photos that we've seen of what is,
Okay,
in my mind, way more than what,
right,
would be, if they came before this board. And I don't know, and again, I have to research how those parking lots were ever placed there, but,
okay,
I would have to say that would be substantial.
okay,
And something that copies that or mirrors that, I'm gonna
Okay.
also say is substantial compared to what the use
right.
is and was.
So that would fall under number 2, in
Uh,
anticipation of what your answer would be to 2, which is, yeah,
it's number 3, that's the number.
can you read 2?
Read 2 is whether the benefits sought by the applicant, that means the applicant is trying to get a variance. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance.
Okay, so I can think that's one I'm looking at, is there an alternative, like, just if we're looking
Yeah.
at, is that necessary? Is all, I'm just going through my mind
Yeah.
your questions and,
Yeah, that's where,
okay,
his, we
Without-
constantly fall back upon our legislators, our council and our mayor to craft, legislation that accommodates the student use as well as respects the existing use, and we're not there. We
okay,
tried with other legislation,
Mhm.
And it did not survive, further examination. So that doesn't also mean that it can't be unlimited, because there's a limit to code that you can't just stuff people in a house like it's,
right,
like we're a third world
Whatever.
country and make a bunch of money on it.
okay,
Not that
one
third
other,
world countries,
oh, in response to people can't see it, which some of you can. I also think about it as a safety thing, is there gonna be lights, and if there's lights, that impacts. The residential, and is it safe, I mean, in like the traffic you said, it's just. It's,
Those are all things that the codes people, the fire department works with,
okay,
police department, and works with existing laws,
Okay.
New York State laws.
so if that's a problem, you're gonna
Determine.
catch that, that's a net,
Yeah,
Okay.
in a perfect world, no, you wouldn't have ingress, egress like
Right.
that, but they have to deal with that
Okay.
and make changes maybe to other traffic patterns.
so their input is already considered,
Yeah,
Okay.
when he gets something, he's not gonna move it on to us
Okay.
unless it's needed.
Well, plus it's gotta, if whatever decision you make has to go to the next
Next
step,
level,
which is the planning,
planning,
which will determine lighting and.
and
Right.
they have more of that kind of
Okay.
oversight.
okay. And the drainage is not in.
Well, drainage is something, again, as a planning issue, it's something that we know as neighbors.
Right.
I'm glad to hear the neighbors, also tell anecdotally the same things that I've been saying
Mhm.
about impervious coverage.
Right,
that.
agreed, okay,
That's something that has to be regarded, and I think that's one of the things when we talk about our question where it talks about environmental conditions, you
Mhm.
better believe that's
Right.
environmental.
and I just am curious, how costly is something like that?
That's a good question, and I'm glad you brought it up because,
I mean,
I've looked at my assessment,
yeah,
when it says land value, it says couple $1,000, so that's because I have a backyard, and I have a garden, and things like that, but when I paid my backyard to accommodate, my business of stuffing my house full of students. Does that mean it's not land anymore, that it's an improvement, and I wanna
Right.
see that reflected in,
Right. Okay,
assessments.
right, thanks very
Good.
much.
Good deal, good to hear from you. Next up.
So my name is Susan Williams and I'm not a direct neighbor. I live on 9 Harrington Avenue. But I thought it would be important for me to just really share, I bought my house in 1999. So I have seen a lot of these changes that was commented, can't take responsibility for previous. Code and ZBAs, but a lot of these large parking lots in student housing occurred without notification to, neighborhood neighbors. And I would have come to meetings like this in the past. I want to be clear, I love SUNY Portland. I'm so grateful that we have the college in our community. I don't work there, my husband doesn't work there, but we raised our daughter there, she's off in another college. It's a great neighborhood. I really enjoy the neighborhood where we live. I like living near college students. Big proponent of mixed use housing, but there also has to be limits. And so I understand, I'm sure buying a house with the intention of making it student housing and assuming based on what's happened in the last 20 years to the housing up in the Hill neighborhood, that must be frustrating. But I think it's important for us to continue looking at it because it does change the character of the neighborhood. It does change value for the neighbors. And I see the same thing walking, and back in 2021, here I am living up on the hill, our cellar flooded, like that's never happened before. I don't know what it's from. I can't speculate, but impervious, paving does concern me. And so I appreciate that the plans would include addressing that, but that's a big concern that I have as a neighbor in the Hill neighborhood too.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Good.
I'll
Good
sign
deal.
it for you.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Another comment, maybe. Oh,
Hi, I'm Peter McGinnis,
yeah.
and I live at 58 West Court Street, the northwest corner of Court and Stevenson Street. And I've lived there since 1992.
You have a dog
That's
there,
why I'm
right?
really old now.
Your dogs are there, that's.
Yes, we.
Yes.
have
Lumber dogs.
And I work at SUNY Cortland. I like the students I deal with. I don't like them on Friday night and Saturday night. One of my windows was broken this weekend, I think. Didn't notice it until.
Oh.
Cleaning out the yard, I go, what's this grass? And then I think,
Ah.
I look at the window, it's broken. Well, and I don't like how what I thought was mostly R1 and R2 zoned neighborhood has become student housing neighborhood. Most of the houses on West Court are not until you get close to downtown. Although the one diagonal across from us now is gone. They did a lot of.
The Tudor house.
The Tudor house, I've done a lot of work. When I moved there, there was a single family living in the house. They rented. The garage in the back was an apartment, and I think the very top was an apartment, but now I think there's 15 students at a house. That changes the neighborhood. I prefer neighbors that are there for a while, so I get to, see them and I know them, and
Yeah.
it's not the same with the students. One of the things that came to my head about, I walk up Clayton Avenue and I see these parking lots in the back. I go, what the heck? How did this get passed? It's further away. Jim is one of my friends and I look in his backyard and go, oh, look at this. They're gonna do what? It's gonna be another one. I'm not sure how this parking and concrete in somebody's backyard, is looked upon favorably. When, if I don't cut my grass and it grows and big weeds and stuff, oh, that's against the law, but I can pave the front yard, I guess. If I wanted to, if I could get it.
So, no,
Yeah.
that, we wouldn't allow that.
I know, but I can pave my whole backyard, or almost all of it, because if I have enough grass in the front.
So there's a process again,
Yes.
which is what
Yes.
this applicant is going through, as I said.
So, and the other part of that is, I don't know if this even went through the zoning board or with you guys, but two houses down from me on Stevenson Street. So not right behind me, but two houses, second house down there. They gravel lot in the whole backyard. They covered the whole backyard with gravel. I don't know if this went before this committee, but they chopped down two tall trees and that whole backyard is covered with gravel. I'm going, what the heck? It's no longer an R1 neighborhood, and it's,
Excuse me, this
Yeah.
is no longer pertaining.
there's a lot of,
Well,
Well,
he-
parking lot coverage.
he's comparing some other properties, which
Yes.
is similar to that, and I'm just gonna give him, you know, we don't let things go on as long as.
I don't usually talk this much, but for your rest,
No.
but it's a change of the neighborhood, and I don't think it's for the good. There's too many students have cars and they don't need them.
Mhm.
They're walkable to the college. They don't need these cars. That's all I can say.
Okay, good, thank you. Does anybody else have any comments to make?
Just that one's being addressed.
That one,
They are correct. It's not approved, and it's being addressed.
yep,
Are you addressing it?
Yes, I'm the zoning officer. I don't miss very much. I'm addressing it. Thank you.
yeah, it's, oftentimes he shows up and, in the nick of time, so we're very good, glad to have him. If there is no more comments, and not seeing any more comments, I, Andy, am going to enter into the record a letter from our, council person, representing that area, Katie Sullivan, who lives on Pleasant Street. And I've known her, Katie, for a long time, and she writes and has copies of this to the mayor, common council. And I will give those to you. It's dated today, September 8th. Members of the ZBA. First of all, thank you for your volunteer work. It is vital to the health and well-being of our community. I am writing about the proposal to increase parking into the green space behind 52 Clayton Ave. I am very much opposed to this proposal. The upper block of Clayton Ave is designated R1 zoning, but the neighborhood as such has eroded over the years. Because businessmen like Mr. Pace, what used to be a mixed neighborhood is more and more a student neighborhood. It's a matter of density. When the balance shifts to more students than owner occupied, the student behavior becomes more about pleasing themselves than conforming to the quieter norms of a predominantly owner occupied neighborhood. There are school-age children who live on Clayton Ave, there are several children who live on West Court, and there are at least 10 kids living on Pleasant Street. I live at 30 Pleasant Street and represent the interests of the constituents of the second ward on Cortland's Common Council.
Sorry.
Increasing parking at 52 Clayton does not improve the neighborhood. There are still people who work as well as retirees living in this neighborhood. The proposed parking lot behind 52 Clayton and the increased density it represents does not serve the people living in the neighborhood. We didn't move here to make money, and we just want to enjoy living in our homes and neighborhood. Mr. Pace has purchased at least 2 homes that were owner occupied until he bought them. He increased the parking to accommodate more students. The impervious surfaces add to the problems of rainwater drainage and erosion on the hill. The additional students add to the problems of noise, amplified music, and walking traffic that wake people up at all hours of the night. As student housing proliferates, it becomes harder for sellers to attract owners who want to occupy the houses because of the negative perception of living in such neighborhood. The balance has shifted, and the only people who can protect us and help with the balance back are you good people. I would have come in person, but a serious health issue has kept me away. Respectfully, Katie Sullivan, Second Ward City Council member. And we'll enter that into our record, Andy, look for any other comments. If not, I'm gonna entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Second. No motion's been made.
Excuse me, I'd like to make.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, by all means, yeah, come back up and I'll.
Clayton Ave has 57 houses, 2 of them are residential. This parking lot will be behind the house. Right now, I have cars down the driveway out to the street. When the car in front has to
Yep,
get up,
well,
I'll have to back out and get into the street.
and that's a code violation there,
Yeah.
the stacking of vehicles and
And if you go in the back, it takes care of that.
So, I'm glad you brought that up. Now, one of the things that I would try to do here is to see if there's something that is less than what you propose. We do this all the time. When we look at something that is, usually the maximum of what an applicant wants to have, we oftentimes do that. In fact, I think we did it tonight. Where we try to negotiate the size. Just to take advantage, it's not necessarily that we have to build what the next guy built. Regardless of how we did it, I'm not here to debate how those were approved. We don't know how they were approved. And we don't know the process and although there are things we can do about that in terms of how integral it is to the operation of the business there. The student business, but one thing I'd ask you is to consider, I think on another occasion, you came and you wanted a variance to split the master bedroom, if I'm not mistaken, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing that there's many more students there, which until such time as the council makes decisions, that's where we are. But where we can look at our landlord, owners up there is to say, is there any way we can come and meet in the middle?
Well, the garage is full.
Okay, full of what? Is it?
TVs, beds.
Okay, so it's used for the business, for your operation, storage for operating the business,
Yes.
the rental, the student house business. And that may change. Do you have space somewhere else?
Not at this time. Planning in the future,
Okay,
but no. I mean, if I can plant some arborvitae's and block out anything that was showing,
okay.
but. You know, maybe a space or something, but that's probably not gonna satisfy.
So, yeah, what I think what I've communicated, what we've heard so far is that you're making pretty substantial change. When you look at these things, at these questions objectively, I have to answer them with that in mind. Taking an area right now that is green space, and turning it into accommodating 8 cars is quite substantial. And notwithstanding the designs that are there to handle stormwater and things like that, I'm sure it's all, above the way it should be, but you've heard from countless neighbors, including the council person, who have issues with creating these parking lots in order to accommodate what are certainly businesses. Nothing pejorative about that statement at all, but it makes a significant change as when I go through my questions. And so that's why I'm asking you, is there any way to make that less significant? And still do, is it an arbitrary number that you came up with, or is it something that really you use in terms of, is it something that has business logic behind it? You know, to accommodate cars and the structure,
Two, but two would be about the best I can do.
take two off? Is that something that you'd be willing to do?
Yes.
Okay? And so instead of 8, you'd be willing to go down to 6. But I'd still like to see something done with that garage. I mean, you said you don't have the storage right now, but, if that can be part of what we include in what you're proposing, I think that would go a long way to mitigating some of the concerns, very real concerns of the people you've heard tonight.
No,
And if you'd like me to table this, I'd be glad to do that. We can talk about this at another, but it's, it's something that I think you need to try to look at when you're and as well as the other landlords up there. And I think we're starting to get that cooperation a little bit here and there. It's important to recognize that you're amongst other people there who have, somewhat competing interests.
I know.
And the best way to do that is to try to be neighborly. We do that all the time. I know you probably do that where you live. I'd like to see a little more of that take place, up there. If there's something that you can get behind, I would
Not,
be willing to put that forward.
no, I need a garage.
Okay,
Oh, it was instead of 8, sorry about it.
okay,
All right, thank you.
good, thank you. Anybody else, here to speak on 52 Clayton? Running quite beyond, so. I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing. I'll make a motion. Motion's been made, I'll look for a second. I'll second. Second been made, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
If I may, before
Yes,
you
please,
jump into
yeah,
the questions real quick.
No,
Um,
yeah, please do that anytime.
Just as we consider these, it's important to remember that we're considering the variances only. Not the conduct of people that might live there or anything like that. As much as we like it or don't like it, we're only looking for variances. And even though renting property is certainly a money-making thing for the landlords, it's not a commercial use, it's not a business use, it's a residential use. It's not a single-family residential use, but this is not a business or a commercial use, it's residential. So we need to look at it in that vein.
It's not true. And the code states that's not true. And the code states that future development investment should ensure the continuation of existing neighborhoods or additional development pattern generally consisting of owner occupied single detached homes and keeping the
I'm not saying that it's not, I'm not saying that it's consistent with the neighborhood, I'm saying it's not a commercial or a business. It's a residential use. It's not an R1 use. But if you look at the code, it also defines what a commercial use and a business use is. This is not a commercial use. It's not a barber shop. It's not a dentist office.
But the code also takes into consider other bigger.
I appreciate that. And that's why I said it's a residential use, but it's not an R1 use. I agree with you.
Good.
And then let's just really carefully and slowly go through each of the questions.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I mean. The questions up here.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
First, on that statement, kind of maybe address the specific. Again, go over those variances that he's requesting.
Right.
Right, I mean, so do you have those right there that he's requesting, or do you want us to?
Okay, I will follow you.
Yeah, I did.
So we have 3 of them. Lot width, pre-existing, 4-foot vegetation strip,
Pre-existing,
pre-existing, and then the maximum parking,
not pre-existing.
not pre-existing. Currently has. How many?
That's arguable based on,
So, guys, I don't think it's arguable, I think it's pretty standard on how we define parking spaces when we look at a driveway, is a set of like the
it's the width, and you can't stack. Correct?
Well,
I can't stack unless it's pre-existing.
so it is pre-existing, so.
Well, it's stacked, it's pre-existing.
It is, so how many parking spaces, right? Our code will able to give us a number of how many,
So it's a single family, so you're allowed to have 272.
so let me do that. Right?
Mark, how many you got?
Pardon?
How many current spots do you have?
Right now, today,
Yes.
Well,
or
how many spots do you have right now? Yes.
well, it's just. Give us six.
Good. 6 non-conforming spots.
Does that count the garage or not the garage? It does not count the garage.
So is this moving the 6 spots that are currently non-conforming in the driveway stacked to behind the house? Or is this moving it from 6 to 12?
Yeah, that's my question is, what do we currently have, what do you propose, and what's the new number? What are the existing ones? It's a pretty simple question based on what, yeah, existing conditions, that's my question, that's what I want the answer to. And so how we normally look at a driveway, look at a house, right, that's pretty standard way of understanding existing parking spaces also. Great. So number is.
There's 6 existing. Says he has 6 without this, he's
6 in here.
here in, I have to, because what's in the garage is, that has to be covered as a parking lot.
He said without.
This is a parking garage or a shed, I mean, I guess how do you consider that, what it is?
So table 383 is not,
It's not the same.
any parking structures on residential.
Right, so that helps us clarify that, it doesn't matter if it's.
Doesn't matter if garage or not.
Perfect, so it's six existing in the driveway,
Okay,
and then he's proposing an additional 8, so that's when we bring up 8, right?
No, he's got 6, he wants 8. 8 exceeds 200% of the maximum allowable parking.
I guess my confusion is if he has
Yeah, so my
putting an
confusion-
8-car parking lot, that seems like 14.
Is it, right, is it a new number or?
So that is, if I fail to explain it, it's not a 14-car parking.
10 spaces. That's just that.
He's exceeding the maximum allowable parking by 4.
Right, so my. Well, question is. Those. Existing small parking spaces are now. Like, how do you just technically call them not parking spaces when a car can still park this, you know?
They just don't conform, that's it.
Okay, so at least they are parking spaces, they're non-conforming, right? So we would be at 14.
No, just you're moving the vehicles around so that you don't have to stack them. So that.
Yep.
The vehicles don't have to be moved, the way the code reads, it doesn't actually say stacked, it says they gotta be parked. Or arranged in such a way that you don't get to move another vehicle so that another one.
Sure, so currently has 6, he wants 8. What about the idea of allowing only 2 more additional, because that still gives him 8, 6 of the existing and 2 more is the 8.
Yes, that's, I didn't clarify that, I apologize. I thought I did.
but if that's something that can accommodate, it still doesn't grant a variance, it still doesn't mean that his.
No, absolutely not.
It doesn't.
I said it did, I was just saying it. No one said it did.
Yeah, okay,
I'm just explaining
yeah.
my math to you,
No, I
which
understand.
you guys didn't understand.
The whole argument against staff parking spots is that necessitates the need of backing them out onto the street to
And
get
is
them
that,
there.
that the zoning thing, or is that code?
That's a code issue.
Is in the zoning, as far as box stacking?
That's in zoning.
Oh.
It's in,
It's in zoning.
I thought
it's in
police code or even.
No,
384
is all code.
C, the design of parking, 384 C.
So it's something that we.
Okay.
Allow them to do.
Oh, all right. I thought I've seen the police come up and give tickets for that, but.
There's certain things in the zoning code can be ticketed.
Okay, all right. All right.
Is there any existing of those sites that they called for reference that are actually compliant, that have been approved the right way?
So everyone down the hill has been approved.
From left and right or just straight down?
If you go down the hill from,
Just Clayton have anything on both sides of Clayton
I
Ave?
didn't look at the other side of Clayton Ave, I can tell you. 50 was approved in 21, 46 and 48 were approved in. Actually 50 was approved in 20 or 21, 50, 46 and 48, that one that has one driveway and two was approved in. It was approved in 14, and I believe your other one was approved in 21, 44, 42, 44. What I said, I can't have no control over was the fact that none of them are impervious. By our definition. When I said I had no, that's what I meant.
Yeah. I've seen this. That's, yeah, that's the.
So just for kind of commenting, talking through this. If we were to come to some kind of. Agreement on my path of, it's hard to talk about it, I mean, I would say I would prefer stacked parking rather than a gigantic parking.
I agree. I agree.
That's my.
And that street is not as busy as St. Pleasant with the country traffic, where there is also that'd be something that could certainly. That's what's existing now, and I think a lot, so you think about allowing two more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's,
Two big areas, and then,
wants 12 8, so anyone can get 112 8 to.
yeah,
Just rearranging his layout design.
I agree.
So there's a garage of two places. So he could have his 8 instead of 6, if he would simply empty the
Yeah,
garage.
thank you, we've closed the.
I understand that, but I
Just to
just wanna
keep
be
this
clear.
formal,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
yeah.
What in the world?
No, that was, yeah, we'll just.
Okay,
That's.
okay, just wanna make sure I understand.
No,
So,
My concern with allowing two more spots is if you look at the drawing. It seems like at least 3 or 4 of those are gonna be stacked. So to get those 2 out, you're potentially backing 4 cars out onto wait. And I don't think that's, you're taking a situation that's not desirable, and by adding those 2 additional spots, it's making it even worse, in my opinion.
but there's.
So I guess, yeah, it
Stacked on the
depends.
interior of the property, right? Not stacked in the access driveway.
There's no way there's room to stack them on the interior, they're gonna have to stack the access driveway to get 6 cars there.
Which is probably currently.
I'm sure it is.
Yes.
I think they park in front of the garage.
So to that extent, to that point, say they currently have 6 in there. That parks one in, it basically has to already move 4 or 5 along the way.
I guess my recommendation would be that maybe he goes back to Mr. Bisley And see is
Yeah,
there,
I'll see some options.
I mean, there's a possibility of him parking 2 cars here and having it
I think that,
with maybe 3 or 4 here,
yeah,
and then there's no stacking.
I
And You're
walked
still
up
gonna
there.
put in a 4-car parking lot, it's better than it.
And
Then there's no stacking.
I made a site visit up there today and it's easy. Possibility of parking in front of the garage, even though the garage certainly is parking. Is there for that, but he uses it for storage, he uses it for storage, parking in front of that. And then allowing a couple more.
Yeah,
That's something that I think we accommodate.
Yeah, I'm not saying 2, I'm not saying, maybe 4,
And then
and then 2, and then 2.
potentially proposing additional increased natural barriers too.
I definitely think that, because he's got open, access, view right to the neighbors.
Right.
That were commented earlier, the 2 neighbors, and, we can reopen the public hearing and ask Mark if he wants to entertain anything, if he doesn't, I don't know, but I think we.
Then we go through our questions,
Go through
yeah.
the questions and see where it goes. I'm gonna move to reopen the public hearing and look for a second.
I'll second.
Second been made, all in favor, signify by stating aye. Aye. Mark, if you've been listening, we're trying to negotiate something here and, it's, because, and we're gonna allow some other people, if they have other comments to make about it, to do that. But first for you, is there some way that we can go half of what you're proposing? And still allow for, like, and what I'm talking about is cars to park in front of your garage too. I went there today and it looks like it's something that can easily accommodate that. And now you would need to work with, if you need to get something out of there, certainly, that's part of what being a landlord is you gotta be in contact with, just let me finish what I'm saying, and then look at, having the amount of spots you're looking to pave over. I think, that would give us the confidence that we're negotiating in good faith with the neighbors, as well as something that, because it.
The 2-car garage is a 1 door.
Okay.
You're never gonna get students come and go without hitting each other.
Okay, that's on you. That's the business you're in, is to negotiate, is to, when your students come in, and I see this all the time, I've been there for 15 years, and I've seen how, and I've talked to many landlords, and yes, it drives them crazy. It drives me crazy, because I had a kid, and it was hard to get them to do the right thing too, but that's on you, that's the business you're in, is to get them to do the right thing. And
It's not enough space. There's ones, to get to the backyard,
oh, really?
you have to go by them because of that space.
Well, I disagree with you. I looked at it today and I came up with that, and I spent some time there, just before I came to really look for that exact reason, because I looked at the air photo and I looked at the sketch. And I think that there's an ability to do that. Yes, it's not like what you have in the neighbors down the street. I don't know the procedure for that. It's how that was approved. If it was, in fact, came before us or not, or if it was one of those that was built and then approved. But, what I'm here to do is to say to you, is there any way that you can work with something that's half of what you're proposing? And including a parking area designated, if you redesign that uses that fairly large space in front of the garage, maybe works on an area that is a turnaround there somehow. I think you're underestimating the ability of the people to get in and out, and and whether you can guide them as your tenants, as to what they need to do. They rent from you, this is what the setup is. It's not the same as somebody else, but I don't think that's ever gonna affect your business. I haven't seen that. There's not a hardship that I'm seeing, demonstrated by not allowing the number that you're talking about. But I just put that out there to you.
Yeah, I think the question was, are you willing to work with coming to like 4 or even less 3 if you can redesign? So,
Is public comment open?
Well, we're gonna let him finish, because we have a
Oh, I
question.
didn't know
before I-
that.
By all means, by all
I
means.
thought it was done.
No, we'll,
All right.
he's pondering maybe, but,
I'll just sign in while he's.
certainly.
Oh, no, it's just.
You're gonna stay with six, okay? All right. I'll let you go ahead
My
then.
turn. Okay, right.
Laura, yes.
My name is Laura Gaffigan. I'm at 32 West Court Street, right around the corner from the property in question. I have to admit, I'm a little stunned about the lack of flexibility here. I do realize that we all store things in our garage sometimes, but garages are for parking cars. That's their entire purpose. If the question is, I want to go to 8 from 6, and there are 2 garage spaces on that property, it seems like we're done with this conversation. I realize that this isn't an ideal world for the person who owns that student housing. However, we as a neighborhood are being asked to be flexible in ways that are a lot more difficult than clearing out the garage, I would think. So it seems to me that under the circumstances, there is empty space waiting to be used by parked cars. It seems to me that's not a big hardship. I realize that would mean moving some storage things, but the neighborhood is being asked to absorb something quite different. So I would like to just make that.
Enter that in the record, good. Good
Thank
deal.
you for addressing all of this.
You're welcome. And again, move to close the public hearing. Look for a second.
Well, second.
Second's been made, all in favor, signify by stating aye. Aye. We are gonna go through our questions. The following test will be considered by the zoning board of appeals to determine whether the variance weighing the granting or denial of the area variance request. Whether, number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. I'm gonna be unequivocal about this and say yes.
I say yes.
Number two, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. I don't think there is. He has to pursue a variance whether he must put 2 spots there. Am I
Whether
correct?
it's 2 or whether it's 6 or 8, he needs to do a variance.
Then I think the question, and thank you, Randall, is a no on that. Number three, whether the requested area variance is substantial. Jim, yes, I think it is. I think it is a substantial increase based on what's there. Number four, whether the proposed area variance, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood district. I'm gonna again volunteer. My answer is yes.
I agree.
Look for current sounds, right? And now, five, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the board, but shall not necessarily conclude the granting of the area variance. Again, yes, this is a change from its previous use, notwithstanding both be residential in nature. Any difference from anybody? I'm not seeing anything. I'm gonna go with Andy. We have number one is yes. Number two is no. Number 3, 4, and 5 are yes. I will make a motion based on an objective analysis and reading and questioning and debate amongst ourselves and the neighbors and the applicant. I'm gonna move to deny the application based on on its specifications as presented.
To add comment to that, I think we were somewhere in agreement to maybe table it for a design.
I can do that. I can yield to a motion to table until such time as an applicant can be given the opportunity to discuss alternatives.
Yeah, but as talked with the applicants, they don't have desire to do less than 6 months. Or to, sorry.
I believe we can deny with the opportunity is always there to represent,
I was reapplying.
always represent.
Yeah, to jump off of what Kyle said, I do agree that it does seem like there was an option to negotiate here and didn't seem like they were willing to move very far, so that reason I agree.
I'll further my motion, moving to deny the application to Clayton. Look for a second. Second is the name, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion is denied. And, with that, the meeting's concluded, we have a couple of things we're gonna address, but if we wanna do that now,
So, just for clarification for our planning board members and anybody else who's, here.
we denied it.
The, two items that were on the agenda for the planning commission, will not be taken up by the planning commission because it will be decisions of the ZBA. So, we will. Vote.
I gotta tell you.
Thank you for your patience, Joe.
Yep.
Okay, minutes from, July, see you later. For us, each of those minutes, the only thing I look at is kind of verify those.
Are we done?
We're just voting on minutes.
Oh, I'm late.
You're good.
Oh, I'm good.
We're just almost done. I didn't see any changes that need to clarify by Roy earlier about my question about minutes. Okay. I'm okay. Oh, God, she has looked at them, changes. I don't even see her stuff.